Welcome. My name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr. That was born July 4th, 1986. I want to say thank you for tuning in to try to figure out some more about your dog. There's one thing that I greatly appreciate is a lot of comments that a lot of people bring. The good, bad, and the ugly. I really appreciate all of it because it's able to allow me to be able to, in reality, focus my experience of what I'm doing to be able to make sure that I'm helping out as many people as possible. Not just help my own self out, because at the end of the day, I enjoy my dogs. I enjoy what they do. I enjoy how they are. I enjoy how they act. I enjoy not everything, but even the things that I'm struggling with, I enjoy being able to have a chance to be able to easily get around that and easily be able to, like, say, fix the situation that I'm in if I'm in a sticky situation. So for me, I want to make sure that you are getting what it is that you're looking for. And for me, I want to talk a little bit about what my expectations for my dogs are, on why I say that I really like them, that I really can say that I have, especially this dog here. This is one of my favorite fun dogs to be around. He's a little slow today. He had an eye appointment this morning and he got a little drugged. So we're gonna try to walk out this medication in him a little bit. And I got to start training him to do some eye drop treatment, unfortunately, but fortunately for him. So he's gonna be a little off. But I really have come to realize that he is what I consider is a nice dog. And he's not a dog that, someone else may look at that and say, well, that's trash, Mark. Like, that dog is clearly not all that great. But for me, this is the thing that I look at dogs, I'm gonna say, just wildly crazy, just much different than what a lot of people are gonna say about dogs. And that's the concept of, I want them to also be able to experience and have a fun time on this planet. It's not just what I want from that dog, that I want to be able to give. Again, I believe that our balanced training term is very, very confused. It's messed up. That I want to be able to have a good time, and I want him to also be able to have a good time. So for me, when they see deer, they see squirrels, they see other dogs, they see people, I don't want my dogs to go into what most unfortunate dog training is, even using treats, is the avoidance. I don't want my dog to see a squirrel and look at me like, give me a treat. I don't want my dog to see a squirrel and think, oh, leash pressure is coming, so don't even look at it. I don't want them to avoid the world. I want them to be in the world. I want them to experience the world. I want them to be a part of this world and not just said like only in my world. They're under my boundaries, where that's the boundary I give the dog. You're on this leash and this is how far you can go. But they're not under me of saying, you can't look at deer. You can't look at dog. You can't look at people. You can't jump. You can't this. But if my dog is jumping on me and you don't want that, there's way more ways to be able to explain to that dog that you don't want him to jump than going towards abuse is at the end of the day. Hitting the dog, forcing the dog, slapping the dog, kneeing the dog, pinching the dog, throwing treats at the dog, doing any of that at the dog. And there's way better methods, because I don't want my dog to be in a sense of like fear that it's going to this because of that. I want my dog to be able to experience this world and have a good time in this world. And that's where, for me, I believe that I've come to the realization of what I think of as being a nice dog. And it's not a robot. It's a dog that is still able to express its dogness. It's a dog that is still able to be able to experience the world for its own, not only just doing what it is that I want it to do all the time. And it's something that I think more people should just think about, that concept of why have the dog if the dog is just being to the point that it can't do anything, but it just has to sit quietly inside of your house all day long. It has to sit quietly and do absolutely nothing all day long. It has to walk perfectly with you all the time. It's never able to explore. It's never able to get out. It's never able to do anything. What is the reason for that dog? Because you're giving that dog an absolutely horrible experience in life. And that's why in most cases, most people are having a horrible experience with their dogs, because that's what's going on. You put your dog in max security lockdown mode and never give the dog a chance to do anything. So that's why you're getting extreme amount of pushback. That's why we need, said, more pressure or more treats. And that's where, for me, I look at things completely differently. I don't care if my dogs get excited and look at a squirrel. I care if my dog knows I just can't go chase it. I can't go take off at it. Right now, there could be a scenario and a setup and a stage that I can go ahead and say, we can do that here. But if I'm in a situation like right here, right now, out here doing what we're doing, I want this dog right here to know he can walk and do whatever he wants. But as soon as he sees squirrel, I don't care that tail gets going. I don't care that he gets excited. I don't care that he gets all wild. I care that he knows that he has that boundary put upon him, that he's got to stay with me. That's all I care about. I don't want to take the dog out of the dog to make the dog appear to be good because it's said like zoned out and or staring at me right next to me on the leash. I want the dog to be able to experience this world. And that's the unfortunate thing that I think that majority of dog training stuff goes to. And again, it's the same with the treats. You're making the dog go into avoidance. Avoid the deer. Don't even think about getting excited over it. You should never even think about having that drive inside of you anymore. You better exit that drive out of your life, and you better do what I tell you to do. And that is just, at the end of the day, very, very damaging to the dog. And that's why I'm seeing things just keep getting worse and worse and worse, because the more and more said training and more said obedience training that we're putting on the dogs, the more restrictions we're putting on the dogs of what they can't do and they're no longer allowed to be a part of and what they can never ever be able to pursue anymore. And that's what's getting, in my opinion, just a lot of pushback from the dogs. That's why the things just aren't working. So that's why for me, when I literally just hook the dog on a leash like this and I walk with her for a couple days, when she sees deer, she's still too excited. Where today she's much better, but when I put her with other dogs, the other dog is bringing the excitement out, but she's just too excited. Like right now, she's excited over something. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but she's got an excitement that I'm cool with this excitement, but I'm not cool if she decides to just pull. Like right now, she's got a little snugness on the leash. This is a little snugness that I can manage. I can manage this right here, where I can be able to effectively get into her brain and say something to her to get her to come back. But I'm not even gonna say nothing yet. I'm waiting until I know for a fact that when I say her name, she's gonna come to me. And I'll know when that happens, when she's not pulling so much. Because right here, she's like, I want something back there. I don't know what it is, but there's something I want. I'm fine with her looking at it. I'm fine with her saying, hey, this is cool. Hey, this is neat. I don't want to make her like never experience the world, never see anything in the world anymore. Oh, Kai, you can go. I don't want her to think that she is not allowed to be able to look at anything. That's where we're running into a lot of the battles with the dogs, because the dogs run into that sense of that avoidance, and the dog never feels like it gets a chance to be able to be in the world for itself. And that's something that I get it. A lot of us got stuck in our brains of, my dog is my property and I do whatever I want with my dog. And you can have a certain level of success with your dog and be able to do certain things with your dogs. But as far as just really being able to relax, chill, take the pressure away from the dog, take the leashes, take the collars, take the treats away, you're going to be struggling. You're just struggling. And that's why more than likely you're not taking a dog more and more places, because you're not able to actually get a basic level of success, is what I'm going to say. I train my dogs, I guess I could say train, to be on a basic level. They're not this advanced obedience train. They're not none of that. They're basic. They can come out and go places. They can come out and do stuff. They can come out and hang out. They can come out and just be able to just relax. And they can just be. And I'm not trying to shut their drives down, shut them down to not having to be able to experience this world. And that's what's been able to make me see what I say is what I think of as a nice dog. Someone else might say, your dog better be so precise, it better be an attention heel everywhere you walk. It never better flinch when it even looks at a person. It never better flinch when it looks at another dog. You know, that's to each his own. To me, I don't like that, because I have to keep using more and more. I want to go to less and less to the point that I don't need to worry. I don't care who comes around here right now, because this dog here will eventually get to that point. I don't care what bike comes, scooter comes, dog comes, person comes. I know that this dog is good to go. And worst case scenario, I could just say, hey, Kahi, come here. And he's like, oh, what's up? Where are we going? Okay, you can go. He's going to listen to everything that I say. That's all I care about. That's it. I don't care how well he could down from a distance, how well he can sit, how well he can do any of these things, because his recall is based on him just understanding what the basic boundaries are. You can only go so far on this leash. And he understands that's that. When I call you, you better get within this limits. That's all I care about. And that's where I'm going to say it's a very, very basic thing. And that's what I want for my dogs, to be what I think of as a nice dog, to be able to let the dog be able to experience the world as well as me being able to experience the world. And that's why for me, I have a differences that I do with multiples of my dogs. These dogs here, these are the ones that y'all want to let's take the sticky route. Let's actually just walk a short route today. This dude's all drugged up. Differences of dogs, like these dogs are the ones that I primarily take out all the time, everywhere I go. Not many people have as many dogs as I have. I have many dogs for many different purposes, for many different needs. But these dogs are the dogs that I take to places, which majority of people, you're trying to take your dogs to places. You're trying to take your dog out. You're trying to take your dog to the walk to the lake. You're trying to take your dog to the trails. You're trying to take your dog to the park. You're trying to take your dog all kinds of places. And then this is what I do with these dogs. I've got other dogs that I don't do that with. So these dogs, I spend a lot of time on doing the basics of what it is that we do. And that's just something that I got a great comment and I had to respond to back and forth a little bit on. These are what I do with my dogs. I'm a trail walking runner guy. I don't live in a neighborhood. I live in open land. I have open space, and this is what I do. And since I do this every single day, this is normal to me. This is easy. This isn't anything extra. This isn't anything out of my way. This is what I do. I don't live in a neighborhood, but if I did, I would walk my dogs in my neighborhood all the time, over and over, every single day. But I don't do that. I live on some land far away from places. For me to get to this place here today, it's a 25-minute drive. Most of my places are 25 to 35, and one place is 45 minutes away for me to be able to get to be able to get my dogs out to go for a walk. But that's normal for me. This is what I do every single day, over and over and over. It's nothing that's like extra or complicated. This is what I do, and this is why for me, I'm going to have a level of success with what it is that I do, with where it is that I go. And if I lived in downtown LA, that's where I'd be walking my dogs every single day, is downtown LA with a whole lot of people. If I lived downtown in Austin, I would be walking in Austin every single day, taking my dog for a walk and being around all the people and doing what the dogs are doing. But I don't live there. I live where I live. So that's the main thing that I think a lot of people are struggling with. Oh, if I had this, or if I had that, or if I was there. No, if you are where you are right now and take your dog out and do what you need to do every single day, you're going to have a phenomenal dog, period. That's just something that a lot of people need to focus on. But the main thing is you're thinking that I need this kind of setting. I need this, I need this, I need that. You need nothing. You need nothing but a dog and a leash and a human being being you. That's all you need. And that's what you need to focus on to be able to have that dog that you're looking for. It's something that is just getting so confusing out here that we're all like, I wish this or I wish that, and why can't I have this or why can't I have that? And there's one thing that I just do know, that everybody can have a basic nice dog, as long as that dog, that you're looking at that dog in a way of it is an individual animal itself, that it isn't something that you're just going to force to do and force to, oh man, I can't stand this language when I hear people say it, but they're just, how do I get my dog to just lay down in the house and shut up and don't do anything? How often do you want to walk it? I don't walk my dog. How often do you exercise or do anything with the dog? I don't want to do anything with the dog, but I want the dog to calm down and just sit in the corner and shut up. That's not realistic. That's not what dogs represent at all in any way. That's not anything that a dog is. And that's where a lot of people are struggling, thinking that I could just take this dog that has this excessive amount of just personality, being, energy, drive, and just take it all away. You know, one day they will have dogs this way, one day. But it's not anytime soon. And anyone that's going to be alive to be able to hear what I'm saying right now, that's going to happen. That's just not anytime soon. In 1,000 years from now, we're going to have dogs that are just dogs that are like literally robots, but more likely before then, we'll already create the robot dogs for everyone to be able to have that nice looking thing that you want. But there's something about the experience on this life to be able to have a living, breathing animal that already wants to be close to you and just learning how to get it even closer to you. And it's about give and take. It's not about just take. You have to give, and you start with the give, and then you can start to take. I take some from this dog, and not every single day. I let him just run free like he's running, just do whatever the heck he wants to do. There's times that I'm like, that's when I have a controlled pull that I do with him, because I'm trying to convince him to get on leash to be able to pull. So because I'm trying to go on some runs with him and he's going to pull. Not so much as him, but he's going to teaching my other dogs that I'm going to continue to keep on getting to be able to make that happen, because he can't run 15, 25 miles. And that's what I'm trying to be able to do. But she can. This little Dalmatian can do that. So he's teaching her how to do that. And then I'll be able to, that's just his job for right now, that he's got to be able to teach something. So that's the take that I'm taking from him. I got you to a good point. I allow you to have the freedom to be able to live the world, sniff the world, do what you want, pee all over the place that you want. The dude unfortunately marked inside of the vet office today. I was like, I'm so sorry. But I let him be wild sometimes. And because I let him be wild, he comes back and he looks at me. He's like, okay, well, I'll pull some for you. That's why every single time that even I do make him pull, I let him after that pulling session. So we're usually doing it out and back. And he goes out, we walk out 4 or 5 miles. He's pulling that whole way. And on the way back, he's free, doing what he's doing right now. He's just able to walk, able to relax. And that's what gives him the motivation to continue to want to even do that for me. But if all I'm doing is you're with me, you're with me, you're with me, you're with me, you can't do anything but just be with me and stay with me and be all on top of me and go where I go and do exactly everything that I say, we have no give and take. And that dog is going to eventually just explode. it's going to explode. It's going to go absolutely crazy. A lot of this anxiousness that a lot of your dogs have, a lot of this frustration that a lot of your dogs have is simply just because it's not able to just, the most basic way I could say this is go for a run. It's never able to run. It's never ran a day in its life. Just to go, man, just to let it out. I mean, this is unfortunate, I'm going to say, but it's just the reality of what it is that's out here. Most of these dogs are so overweight that I could off leash your dog right here. He ain't going nowhere. He gonna run, and he gonna be tired in that first little push that he does. And he's like, wow, that was nice. Now what? And then they'll come right back. That's the part where we're not said trusting the dogs, thinking that the dogs are just going to just take off and go crazy and be savage and be wild. And that's just not the majority of dogs. You're going to have that one dog. I've had one dog that seemed like he was just having a blast, but as soon as he got that blast out, he came back. He was like, what's up, man? Where are we going to next? What are we going to do now? And that's what we want our dogs to be able to do, to get that frustration out. A lot of that anxiety, it's just because of the dog simply is not getting exercise. It's not getting anything that it needs. It's just getting everything that you're forcing and pushing upon it. And the dog is just going absolutely wild inside. And the brain just starts to just get into dysfunctional ways because it's not able to process anything. And that's something that's going on with just so many dogs. I'm telling you, you just exercise the dog. You do something to give the dog what the dog wants. You give the dog not even what it wants, but at the end of the day, what it absolutely needs. It needs to be able to get its exercise. It needs to be able to express its drives. It needs to be able to get focused. Even something as simple as this. There's some kids, there's some people over there, and he looks at them. I don't want him not to look at them. I don't want him to think, oh, I see people, look at me, look at me. I want him to do this. I want him to experience the world. I want him to be able to be a part of the world. I want him to be able to just relax in the world. And that's for me to show him how to relax. When he gets all crazy and wild because he sees another dog, it's for me to show him, hey man, it's not that serious. I slow it down. I stay calm. I do nothing. I get distance if I need it. And I just slowly, day by day, keep working him through that to let him know it's not that serious. Everything is all right. And then he's just like, oh, it's okay. I could deal with this. But every single time that I'm forcing him, this is where I ran into issues with this dog. With using the e-collar, using pressure all the time, that he would look at something where I'm thinking that he might do something, I tap him, tap, tap, tap. I was just quick on that tap, tap. And then I got that boost feature on there that if he didn't tap, tap on that first tap, tap, I'll boost that thing up, basically maxing that collar out, saying, hey, buddy, I said to come right now. And it brought us into hostility because he was running into the scenario that he couldn't be in the world. He had to just be shut down. He couldn't look at anything. He couldn't smell anything. He couldn't go to the bathroom even. I am slightly a little picky about where they do go potty because I want them to potty somewhere where it's next to a trash can. So I do work on them for that a little bit. But as far as just being able to just do what he's doing right now, I never just let him do that. And that's why we're butting heads, because I never let him be a dog. And the more and more that we're not letting dogs be dogs, that's what we're struggling at. That's why for me, my expectations, I want my dogs to be able to be in the world, look at it, be able to have fun with it, be able to experience it, be able to, they're never going to be perfect. And knowing that if he sees a deer right now and he got it in him where I might want to run at it, I'm going to let him express it, knowing that over time, he hasn't chased them. He's made a decision of like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to take off at it. But I don't want him to see it and think like something bad is going to happen to him from me, and or something supposedly good, but giving him treats is going to happen. I want him to just get through it and just be able to experience it. That to me is what makes a nice dog. A nice dog is not one that is, because this is unfortunate that a lot of horses run into this. I see dogs the same way, but it's more easy to see in horses when we just get them to that stage, we call it bomb-proof. The horse doesn't respond to anything. This is what those horses look like when they're in, those parades and stuff where they take them to, like, oh man, a lot of the police horses and like the Mardi Gras stuff. Those horses are like dead to the world. They're not even in the world anymore. They're so desensitized to everything that they're not even able to experience life anymore. They sit in their stalls and they are the only thing I could look at them and say is they just straight depressed. They are straight suppressed. They are straight oppressed. They are just broken down and beat down, and they have no personality at all to make sure that they don't respond, they don't react, they don't do anything to anyone, anywhere. Where I get it, there's a time and a place for that. But for a pet dog, for a pet animal that you have, You are not going to want that. And if you do want that, please, please, just do me a favor. Do me a solid right now. Get rid of the dog, because that's not what dogs are. That's not what dogs represent. Are some control panels for us to just poke their buttons all day and force them what to do all day, and think that that's going to be able to bring some sort of fun to you or anything. Like that's going to drive you insanity, because the dog is going to start to give you some pushback. And I think that this is where we're having disconnect with dogs today. That majority of all, not all, but majority of all dog training is not allowing dogs to be a dog. You're coming in, my number one, even before I was really changing up what it is, how I look at dogs, my number one thing when I would go to a house and I would hear that a dog is biting somebody, or it's biting a kid, or it's biting another dog, or killed another dog, my first number one go-to in my gut instinct was, we got to get this dog running. We got to get it moving. We got to get it active. We got to do something to it. And then once I would do that, I would see a completely different dog, And I was like, that dog that you used to have is now, this is who your dog truly is, because it never was able to do that. And once we're able to get the drives out of the dog, you see a completely different dog. You do not run into that same animal that you used to see, which I'm going to call is like a straight up animal. You start to see a domesticated being when you start to get the dogs out and be able to let the dogs do what the dogs need to do. And that's where, again, most dog training does not focus any of that on. Dog training focuses on control and management. Never let the dog sniff, never allow the dogs to even chase, never allow the dogs to look at another dog, never allow the dogs to look at people, never allow the dogs to interact with anything. And that is very, very, very damaging to the dog, because as social as they are, not all, because like my shepherd here, he don't really like to meet many dogs. Some he's cool with. He don't really like to meet many people. Some he's cool. Where this dog, this Dalmatian, she's cool with meeting 98%. She's only seen one dog so far. I was like, she just didn't care for it. But she likes to meet every single person. She's just all up on everyone, everywhere. So for me to correct her from going to see people, that's going to put me and her in an extreme amount of hostility. So right now, all we do is we're on mission. We're doing what we're doing. And there's times that we stop and I allow people to be able to pet her, because in the future, hopefully she'll be able to take pictures with people and everybody just likes her. Something interesting about this dog that people just get all excited. So I'm like, yeah, take a picture with her, man, because she's cool. So she needs to know that's going to be able to be there for her. And that's something that's in her that she enjoys. As much as she likes me, she likes to be able to just interact and she's a little social butterfly. That's what she is in reality. And she has to be able to express that. If I don't allow her to express that, we're butting heads. But since I allow her to express that, I can walk in places where I could tell her, hey, let's just walk. We're not going to be meeting every dog and pulling to them and pulling to every single person right now. And she stops. And then we just have this balance back and forth. And that's what my opinion is what balance training is. I got times that I'm letting her do what she wants, and I got times that she's going to do what I'm looking for. And in reality, the more and more that you keep going, the more and more that balance doesn't need to be a 50-50 split. I can take more and then give a little bit less, and the dog is still satisfied. But at first, I'm always going to give more, because I want the dogs to be able to get all of everything that they have out, so that they're not so on edge and so anxious and so frustrated or so anything, that they're just relaxed and they're calm and they're patient, and they're looking at you as a very calm, patient, rewarding person to be around. Not something that is just like trying to play games to convince them to be with you. You just want to be you. And that's why for me, my expectations is, I'm going to say, more likely much, much different than majority of dog trainers' expectations for their dogs. I don't want them to be suppressed and shut down to the world. I want them to be in it. I want them to be able to sniff out something. I want them to be able to catch scent of a rabbit. But the main thing is, they'll know, you can't do it right here, right now. Right here, right now, we're not doing that. Because like my shepherd up here, he understands that. If he gets into that zone, because I can see a big difference in his body language when he switches to, I'm going to go track out something. And he gets into it. And in reality today, I let him do it for a little bit just to get it out. But he doesn't just take off anymore. And that's where, if your dog is taking off, you got to show them that it's normal. And they're not seeing it as normal if they're willing to just take off in an instant, because you've never allowed them to express it, for one. And two, you never taught them how to be a proper animal to society, realizing that everything isn't just some hoorah, all that fun and all that great. the dogs start to go crazy on leash because they think that it's the world's greatest thing when everything is normal. Everything should be normal. Everything shouldn't be this world's awesome, amazing thing. And that usually happens because you take the dog for a walk once every 3 weeks. I mean, I know a lot of people that you never take your dog for a walk. You never take your dog out. You never have your dog anywhere. And then you're expecting a dog to be able to get better. Animals are outdoors. They're not indoor animals. We got some fish that claim to we could somewhat put inside, but they're still not indoor animals. We don't really have much of indoor. You get a mouse, them some indoor animals because they always try to break into houses to stay in them. And little things like that. Dogs are outdoor animals. I mean, just simply sitting on your back patio and eating dinner twice a week, once a week, just having your dog outside, you're gonna see your dog start to get better and better. Have your dog out. Allow your dog to be in what its natural element is. Natural element isn't in a house that's air conditioned and heated with the same air circulating around all day. They have powerful noses and they need to use them. And that's where, for me, I think that we're struggling the most, because even training dogs, we take them to a training facility, we put them in a building and we're like, do all this stuff. That has nothing to do with the dog's natural instincts, the dog's natural drives. That already, to me, just screams like something's wrong. If you're like trying to tell me to go to this building so that we can start doing some work to be able to train my dog. I want to train my dog to walk around the block in my neighborhood. What is training my dog in a building going to do to be able to do that? Someone's going to say, oh, you got to build the first foundations in the building to get the dog to understand heel. You're going to do the treats, to do the lures, and do that. And I'm saying, I know a lot of people can straight up comment on that right now. What I'm about to say is, does that ever work? Are you able to teach your dog to heel in the house and then go outside and your dog just does it perfectly the same way that it was doing it in its house? To me, it's inside is one way, outside, I don't care what you did inside, none of that matters. Now we're in a whole different situation here. And that's something that a lot of people should really, really think about. If you want your dog to be able to walk around other dogs, go to the park, go to the lakes, go to the ocean, go on the trails, go to the mall, go to the restaurants, you need to get your dog there right now. And you need to do the small little things every single day to get your dog there right now, knowing that this is going to take time. You want your dog to be able to go to all the restaurants and be able to sit under the table and be able to hang out with you. You need to figure out every little step you need to be able to get your dog there. Is your dog scared of going down the street? We need to work on that first. Is your dog acting wild before it even gets out of the front door? You need to work on that. Is your dog acting wild to get into the vehicle? You need to work on that. You need to work on every little single step stage to get your dog to where it is that you want him to go. And you want your dog to be calm in every single part of that stage. This girl, from out of the crate of the house, she's got to be calm. Out of the front door, she's got to be calm. Out of the second gate, she's got to be calm. Getting into the crate, she's got to be calm to get into the van. Getting out of the van, she's got to be calm. Getting out of the van, getting hooked up to the leash, she's got to be calm. She's got to be calm every single situation so that I can have better and better success of letting her know what I want. And something that I've even upgraded this past couple of days is you got to be calm to eat your food now, because this girl goes savage. Like, I might have to get video so you can see how savage this girl gets when she sees food and she knows food about to come. Yesterday, I spent over 2 hours just waiting until she was calm. 2 hours I was sitting there, just sitting there in dead silence, being calm myself, and just looking at her like, we're gonna get there at some point. And it took over 2 hours. And then she finally just laid down, she rested her head on my foot, and I was like, okay, let's eat. And she got up and just got in and she just ate. And I was like, okay, let's keep doing this, because everything needs to be calm. It's something that we're not focusing any of our energy on that. We're focusing on getting the dogs excited, getting them in a rampage, getting them all going, getting them wild, getting them crazy, getting them just on that savage mode. And that's what we're working against nature with the dogs. And unfortunately, when you keep doing that, that's where you can have a good appearing dog in a setting, but not a good dog overall. I want to have a good dog that's not only just able to just walk around with me and do stuff, but also be able to live with me, be in tune with me, be able to be good with me anywhere that we go. And when I say anywhere we go, someone might want to put those expectations on. I never want this. I never want my dog to look. I don't want my dog to this. That's not what I want. I want my dog to be able to look how he looks right now, and I don't care who's around, because that's how he looks. When someone whips around this corner right now, he's just going to look at him. He'll say, hey, he gives him a little, what's up? And then we just continue to keep on moving on. There's nothing that I'm worried about here. I want him to look at them. I want him to interact with the dog, to even let that dog know, hey, everything's cool here, man. Like, we don't need to fight. That's why majority of dogs don't react to my dog, because they're just, he gives them that language of, hey, man, hey, I don't have any issues here. I don't want any battling with you. I don't want any problems. Let's just move on. And the other dog looks at him, they're like, oh, okay, let's just move on. And we just move forward. And everything is all right. And it's something that day after day after day, I continue to keep on working on. Day one, if you see that little white sign down there, there's a dog right there, this boy would be freaking out, just barking, just screaming, just yelling, just hollering, just spinning, just going wild. And this dog was sketchy because he's willing to what do you call that, redirect on you. So if you pull on that leash some, this dog is quick to bite you. And he would, only on me at least, he would chew on that leash real good. But he looked at me a few times like, you pull on that leash one more time, buddy, I'm about to bite you. And that starts to get scary when they run into that situation. And that's what you in that right now. I feel for you. Trust me, I feel for you. I've been in that. And I had to work him. We would stay far away. I would see he would get calm. And then I'd get closer. Then he'll get calm. Then I'll get closer. Then he will get calm. And I'll just keep doing that day after day after day after day after day. And then after a while, we're able to just walk around. And then we started working on him being able to understand to listen to me because he's not so frantic. When he's not so wild, I could say, hey, Kahi. And he just looks at me. He's like, what's up? I don't need to go extra. I don't need to do anything. That's where the e-collar would work. Because if he didn't listen to that, I can give him a tap and that's now, listen to me. As opposed to he's already calm that he's going to just listen to what it is that I'm saying. He's always basically got an ear on, hey man, what you doing back there? What's happening? He's always in tune with me because he's not all frantic and going crazy. And that's where you want our dogs to be, is calm. And the only way, in my opinion, to get a dog calm is to do stuff with the dog. To just do stuff, just live with it. Just do anything. I mean, absolutely anything. Anything that comes to your mind, you're just like, I wanna take my dog here. Just get up and take your dog there. And if that means that you gotta be on the outskirts at first, take your dog on the outskirts. Take your dog to the park and be way at the end and just go out there and just hang out. And just take your dog there. Allow your dog to process everything that's going on to start to see that everything is normal. Take your dog into your front yard. That tree talking. Take your dog in the front yard and just sit there. Take your dog in the backyard and just sit there and just hang out and just relax so that your dog can just see that everything is okay. Don't try to not allow your dog to look at anything. Don't try to fight your dog to not pay attention to the world. You want your dog to be in the world. And that's where, for me personally, I believe that we start to have a really nice dog. And that's what my expectations are on what I see as being what a nice dog is. Where someone else may think that a PSA 3 obedience routine is what a good dog is. But for me, I want my dog to not just be shut down from the world. And I'm saying that loosely in a way of those dogs aren't shut down doing that stuff. But as far as that routine that they're doing, I wouldn't want my dog in those competition routines for just going for a walk out here, what we're doing, for going for a walk around the neighborhood. I wouldn't want my dog in a competition routine. I want my dog to be able to be a part of the world. And that's something that I think is just what makes it easy to have dogs, knowing that they're considered property, but they're not your property. They're with you if they choose to want to be with you. When your dog doesn't want to be with you, trust me, I know a lot of y'all's dogs don't because you're always running away. I fixed the fence and he ran away again. I did this and he ran away again. Opened the door and he ran away again. Your dog doesn't want to be there. If your dog doesn't want to be there, that's a huge statement that animal is stating to you. I don't want you. And we need to pay very close attention to that. Something as simple as this. If my dog didn't want to be with me right now, he'd be gone. He'd be just running. He wouldn't listen to anything that I had to say. He'd be gone. But since he's cool with being with me, and I'm not treating him like he's my property, I'm treating him like he's an animal. And he's going to just continuously keep on getting better and better and better. The same with this little Dalmatian here. She's going to just keep getting better and better and better. Thank you. And this is a little Ophi. She coming along. Kai, he definitely walking different today. He missing a lot of energy today. He's super shut down. I don't really like my dogs being on drugs, but they had to get on him about this eye appointment. Come on, man. Kai. He gonna carry this bone along with him. He always like finding stuff out here. He's so funny.